Friends, this presentation is about the powers and functions of the Election Commission of India. As we all know, conduct of free and fair polls in a democracy is essential to ascertain the true will of the people. The Supreme Court has ruled that the conduct of free and fair polls is an essential feature of the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. In a democracy, it is very crucial that the system of electing representatives must be efficient and non-partisan. Undoubtedly, the foremost task of the founding fathers of the Indian Constitution was to make the elections free and fair, besides contemplating to constitute an institution which could carry out electoral process impartially and independently so that the democratic character of the country could be preserved. The framers of the Constitution, keeping in view the complex and diverse nature of the country, resolved that the constitutional authority vested with the conduct of elections should be competent, effective, apolitical, independent, and neutral. Article 324 of the Constitution of India entrusted the superintendent's direction and control of elections to the Election Commission of India, which is appointed by the President of India. The Election Commission is an authority which deals with all matters related to elections under the Constitution. The article provides that the conduct of elections of the President, the Vice President, members of the Parliament, and members of state legislatures must be vested in the Election Commission. One of the important features of the Election Commission is that it is an independent body absolutely free from any kind of control and interference from the political parties, be it the ruling party or opposition. Another important feature of the Election Commission of India is that it is a multi-member body. Although Article 324, Clause 2 of the Constitution provides for the appointment of Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners by the President, the Election Commission for a long time remained a single-member body. In 1993, Parliament by an act made it a multi-member body, and it was challenged by T.N. Seshan, then Chief Election Commissioner in the Supreme Court, unsuccessfully. Article 327 empowers the Parliament to make provisions with respect to all matters relating to or in connection with the election to Parliament and state legislatures. In exercise of this power, under Article 327, Parliament has enacted the Representation of People Acts of 1950 and 1951, the Presidential and Vice Presidential Elections Act, and the Delimitation Commission Act. Article 328 confers similar powers on the state legislatures. In the case of Mohinder Singh Gill versus Chief Election Commissioner in 1978, the Supreme Court of India had observed that the powers or duties vested in the Election Commission under Article 324 are essentially administrative and marginally even judicative or legislative. Further, the Supreme Court held that the words superintendence, direction and control as used in Clause 1 of Article 324 are of wide amplitude and would include the powers to make all provisions necessary for smooth conduct of elections, subject however to any law made by Parliament or state legislatures under Article 327 and Article 328 of the Constitution respectively. In the words of the Apex Court, Article 324 is a reservoir of powers for the Election Commission. If it is silent on any electoral matter or is not sufficient to deal with a particular situation, the Election Commission has the inherent and plenary power to act in such a vacuous area within its allowed domain without looking to any outside authority for conferment of powers. Again, the marginal legislative power of the Election Commission was recognized in the case of Sadiq Ali versus Election Commission of India. In this case, the apex court had held that the election symbols reservation and allotment order 1968 issued by the commission in excess of its powers under article 324 was valid. The election commission is empowered to deal with the process of delimitation of constituencies under the Delimitation Act. Thus, on the recommendation of the commission, an independent delimitation commission was set up by the government under the Delimitation Act. In the three delimitation commissions set up in 1953, 1963 and 1973, the chief election commissioner had been an ex officio member. The preparation of electoral rolls where all the voters are listed is the primary function of the election commission under the provisions of the constitution and the representation of the People's Act 1950 and 1951 and the registration of electors rules 1960. Article 325 of the Constitution of India makes provision for electoral roll for every territorial constituency irrespective of the religion, caste, race, sex of an elector. Further, Article 326 as amended stipulates that electoral roll must contain all adult citizens not less than 18 years of age on a date fixed by law and not otherwise disqualified. Thus, the electoral rolls of all the constituencies are prepared in accordance with the provisions of the Representation of the People Act of 1950 under the Superintendent's direction and control of the Election Commission. The condition of registration for elector is that he must be a citizen of India, must be 18 years of age, must be ordinarily resident in the constituency in which the elector seeks registration, and should not suffer from any disqualification for corrupt practices or offences related to elections. For the elections to the Lok Sabha and the state legislatures, the councils of union territories, the notification is issued by the president or governors or administrators as the case may be. These notifications are issued on the recommendation of the election commission. In case of by-election, the commission has the power to issue notification. According to section 149 and section 150 of the Representation of the People Act 1951, it is incumbent upon the election commission to fill up the vacant seat of a constituency as early as possible. In 1997, keeping in view the suggestion of the election commission, Parliament passed a law making it mandatory to fill the vacant seats within 6 months. Thus, a time limit has been fixed in regard to by-elections. The Election Commission has considered the 6 months time limit as an outer limit. Further, Section 30 of the Representation of the People Act of 1951 vests the powers in the Election Commission in case of general elections and by elections to fix by notification in the official gazette the date of making nomination, the date of scrutiny of nominations, the last date for withdrawal of candidates, date or dates on which a poll shall be taken, and the date before which the election shall be completed. The Election Commission has also evolved a set of norms with the consensus of the political parties called Model Code of Conduct, which is binding on all the political parties during the course of elections. The Election Commission ensures its observance by all the political parties. It ensures that official machinery is not misused, that electoral offences, malpractices and corrupt practices are prevented by all means. Next, Article 329A provides that the validity of the law relating to the delimitation of constituencies or the allotment of seats to such constituencies shall not be called into question in any court. Then Clause B of Article 329 provides that the election can only be called into question by an election petition presented to such authority and in such manner as may be laid down by appropriate legislation. In excess of this power, the Parliament has enacted the Representation of People's Act of 1951. Under this Act, the decision of the Election Commission is final. And this provision has also been approved by the Supreme Court in Pannuswamy versus Returning Officer Namakkal in 1962. The courts will not entertain any petition during the process of election. However, after the election is over, an election petition can be filed. Thus, Election Commission as an independent authority regulates all aspects of election process. With this, I come to the end of this presentation. Thank you.